Hello there, this is Geraldine Ryan-Lush, and I'm going to do a poetry reading for you from my collection, Once When I Wasn't Looking. I've been a poet all my life, and it was my first form of writing and my favorite form of writing. I've always wrote poetry. I have another collection in the works, which I potter at now and again. It will come out eventually. However, I'm going to read a number of poems from this collection, which was published by Borealis Press, Ottawa. Some of the track it has received so far. It was published by Borealis in Ottawa, and is on collection at several universities and colleges in Canada and across North America, including New York University, among others, and University of Providence, Rhode Island, University of North Carolina, several others I can't think of at the moment, but you'll find all the information on the various websites and on my Facebook page and Amazon page, etc., etc. It's also in one university, of course. It's in the schools. It has been studied in schools and high schools and colleges here in Newfoundland. It has been. Well, I've appeared on CBC Radio to discuss it. I've had a launch at chapters and readings at chapters. There's been featured readings at the LSP Old Hall and St. John's, etc. That's all I can think of at the moment, but I'm sure there's more that I haven't got jotted down here. But like I said, it can be found on anywhere you look to do with me or my writing. It's universally themed, Newfoundland inspired. I am from Newfoundland. And the back, St. Joseph, St. Mary's Bay, Newfoundland. Here's the back cover. And it says, Geraldine Ryan-Lush was born and raised in St. Joseph, St. Mary's Bay, Newfoundland. A teacher, she holds a Bachelor of Arts education from Moore University of Newfoundland. Her body of published works include many scholarly articles, stories and poetry, published in various periodicals and literary journals across Canada. Her many children's books have enjoyed critical and popular acclaim, having been reviewed in noted literary sources, including School Library Journal, New York, and recipient of several awards and honors. American Booksellers pick of the list selection, the Merit Magazine Studio Award, the Alcon Society Design Award, the Reader's Favorite 5-Star Award, the Atlantic Books Today Editor's Pick. Her children's titles are in numerous libraries and library systems in the US as well as North America and overseas. She has been awarded several major writing grants, including the Canada Council for the Arts to further her work, and Newfoundland Labrador Arts Council. And Once When I Wasn't Looking is her first collection of poetry. She lives in Mount Pearl, Newfoundland. In Once When I Wasn't Looking, Geraldine Ryan-Lush has crystallized the purity of human experience and emotion for its imprint on the human condition, shaped by personhood and the environment. Beyond the resonance of richness in the unadorned framing of the simplicity and freshness of rural roots, and certainly not transcending it, the poems are layered and textured with the often poignant and real interaction of womankind and the complexities of man and woman and love, which give them extra dimension and universality. Above all, she has attempted to encapsulate the bullet force of truth. And this cover is from my grandmother's house in St. Joseph, St. Mary's Bay, where my father was born and raised. Okay, I'm going to read several poems which were inspired, of course, by my rural roots in St. Mary's Bay, and I'm sure will resonate with anybody who's grown up in rural roots or small communities and had a very simple, rich growing. Simple and rich. The first poem I'm going to read is Tom's Taxi. And I'm sure many people in parts of Newfoundland will identify with getting the taxi to go to St. John's every so often when we're lucky enough to get to St. John's, the big city. over gravel roads, and it took a couple of hours, a couple of hours out, a couple of hours back, and it was a full day job, and very, very exciting, extremely exciting. It ran every day, but we only got it on a Friday, twice a year. Roared to a halt beside the gate, gas fumes pungent. Wouldn't be quite daylight yet, but out to town was a long ways away. Tom, cheerful, would sandwich us in. We didn't see how we could hold one more, but there was always room. No one cared anyway. They were going to town. The adults would say, "Don't look at the trees, it'll make you dizzy." But it was really the fumes and the cigarette smoke that made me turn white amidst the jokes and the laughter. Tom had to stop then. That was on the way out. On the way back, Tom, still cheerful, would help us in again, negotiating people and parcels with Houdini flair as the milieu grew along with the fun. Stories and singing this time, especially the singing, more risque now, not meant for youngsters' ears, but who cared? They were in Tom's taxi, going home. Grind to a halt beside the gate, quite dark by now, scoop out from depths of arms and legs and hats onto the spinning ground, a wrinkled, exhausted baggage of unfathomable joy. Summer of '62. Seductive scent of lilacs at dusk, walking home from the garden party, where we weren't allowed to stay for the dance. The swish of our crinolines, the click of our little heels on settled loose gravel that seemed to understand our staged and futile perfection. Where the boys are, red sails in the sunset, sultry strains from the radio, tease, taunt, tempt, haunt, like a scintillating velvet breeze demanding capitulation. Holly-go-lightlies without their terrace, Scarlett O'Hara's dreaming of a terror. Blank newsprint. This is especially meaningful because we actually did that. We made books from newspaper wrap, blank newspaper wrap. That my brother actually was a carrier for the telegram, and he always had those bundles of blank newsprint to wrap the papers in. So we would go up into we had our playhouse in the cellar, or, well, I guess it was really big for a playhouse then, but we had 11 or 12 years old, I guess. So we would make books, and we actually would sew them with needle and thread. Unbelievable to realize that now, but that's what we did. And it was quite creative. Bundle wrapped, virginal, enticing in naked expansiveness, begging to be pulled, folded, stitched, saturated, soaked in sanguine soliloquies of nature's tender bliss, replete of whitewashed manna, feeding the bursting minds of blithe pastoral birds of 1959. Nobody did tell us what chapbooks were. What a pity. Bachelor storyteller. Dressed to the nines, like a stick of chewing gum, shirt and tie, see her face in his shoes. Always came early, but never too late, for those with their ears to the grate. He was the Pied Piper, the Tin Woodman, Peter Pan. He never aged a day. My grandmother said it was because he had no responsibilities, neither chick nor child, no responsibilities to further his brow. I should say no worries. My grandmother said it's because he had no worries, neither chick nor child, no responsibilities to further his brow. But I always had the feeling, as he stood, hand on doorknob, saying yes to more tea, that there was something askance in that order of things. And this is from the title poem, Once When I Wasn't Looking. Once, when I wasn't looking, my mother sent me across the river to my aunt's to have my hair set in clips for the garden party. Bobby pin by bobby pin. It took all night. My aunt said I had a creamy complexion and had me try some lipstick she had bought in St. John's. Wear that tomorrow, she said, and fitted me in a suit, too svelte for my 13-year-old mind. I sat on the grass the next day, playing eights with Con Petty from up the ridge. I wore the pink lipstick and the suit that was sinewy long. "You're beautiful," Con Petty blurted, and dashed red-faced away in bewildered torment. Once, when I wasn't looking, to my utter disgruntlement, I became a woman. Hanging out at Biddy Pin's. Bold and brazen on the bluff, half-shuttered, shabby, shameless, daring us to duck inside. No need for pride or shirts and ties. Sure isn't Rick's Cafe. Jukebox jives, greased-up guys, and a wild-haired woman with merchandise running the show from the mottled glow of a 15-watt. Forget hormonal. Biddy Pin's hangout, putting on the ritz of rural torture. If we had a Dairy Queen in 1962, we would have thought we died and went straight to heaven. All 40s movies. Muted in black and white mist, they beckoned in seductive sorcery from the corner of the kitchen when I came home from school at dinner time. Those rabbit-eared, celluloid peep shows I so jealously consumed with mouthfuls of mac and cheese, envying my mother's precious moments of child-free time, while I, forcefully earthbound, returned to the potholed road of futile dreams, upon which Greer Garson and Susan Hayward would never deign to tread. Well, that's just a few poems from this book. It has 45 poems altogether, so it's certainly enough to sink your teeth into. If you want to obtain a copy, I have some copies, as you can see. I'm not sure I'm not sure if Chapters has any more copies at the moment. I do know Amazon is. I don't think you can find that on Amazon right now. It's a supply issue or something. But anyway, if you want to obtain a copy, you could contact me to obtain a copy. My email is Geraldine1942@live.com. And I hope you've enjoyed these entries from this book today. Thank you and have a great day.